Hi folks, it's Lee here for Laney Amplification, and I'm joined today by my good friend, the tone wizard, Mr. Simon Fraser-Clark.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
We thought we'd do a video on the hottest day of the year ever. Yeah, well,
Official.
the year or official?
Hottest day, hottest July day ever since records began.
Okay, it's a bit warm up here, so if you see us sweating, apologies. Adjust your TV sets. We're going to have a look at the secret path today, because we've done a demo on it before. But what we haven't done is really explain what all the dials do and the extra secret bits in the secret path. And the person who really knows this stuff the best is Simon, who's involved in the entire process of design and testing and all sorts of stuff. So we're just going to do a kind of close-up of the pedal. Simon's going to take us through how to use it in different modes and settings, and I'm just going to do some basic playing so you can hear it. And I've got some questions about it as well.
Good.
So my first question is, what is the secret path, Simon?
Secret path. The secret path is a kind of a beguiling reverb pedal.
Beguiling?
More. I think if you think about when you play a note on a guitar, a note gives you information about pitch.
Yeah.
Nothing else. It doesn't tell you where you are. There are 13 notes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then
13.
That's the same note.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is all the notes have been played before.
This is true.
Okay, in any combination, in any stack, and it's what happens next. So you play a note on a guitar, it gives you a sense of pitch. The most important thing is reverb, because reverb gives you a sense of place. And obviously, if all the notes have been played, then the difference between notes being played by a certain player or in a certain studio is what happens next. It's the reverb. It's the sense of place. It's the environment that you're in, and that's kind of really important. Brian May calls it hot space.
Hot space. Hot space.
It's the bit between the notes that tells you where you are. So reverb is really quite important from a tone building point of view. And really what we did on the secret path was take really 3 different styles of reverb, 3 different types of reverb, and distill them down into a single box. So if you look at the pedal, you can see it's a fairly straightforward form factor, 4 controls and a little 3-position switch.
Yeah, toggle switch.
Little toggle switch, and then a little memory edit button, which we'll talk about in a minute, and then the standard on-off foot switch.
And this is stereo in?
It's mono in, stereo out.
That's right.
Okay?
That's correct, yeah.
So the pedal contains 3 different types of reverb. It contains a spring reverb.
Okay, what are we on now then?
We're on spring at the moment.
Okay, so shall I give an example of the tone of the amp?
Yeah.
So you turn the pedal off.
So turn this off?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the amp completely dry. Now, so spring reverbs are the classic kind of guitar reverb that people are used to hearing.
Yeah.
They tend to be a bit trashy, a bit boingy.
Yeah.
So what you can do with this, if I just go through the controls on the pedal, then obviously we can look at how you set them up to get a particular sound. Starting on the top left, there's a control which is labelled P. That is pre-delay. That is the amount of time that occurs between you playing the note and you hearing the reverb.
So if I give a dead...
Yeah. So if I increase the pre-delay now, you'll hear the initial note, then a dark space, then the reverb.
Okay, let's do that.
So I'll increase that now to the full. Play. Okay. So pre-delay is important when we move on to the more kind of ambient guitar sounds later on. But at the moment, let's set the pre-delay down to 0. So now there is no delay time between the note being played and the reverb being heard. top right control, volume.
Yep.
That determines the overall level of the reverb in relation to the dry guitar
So it's like
note.
a blend.
So it's like a blend.
Yeah.
You can actually plug in an expression pedal to the secret path, which in the mode that we're running now acts as a volume control for the reverb, so like a mixed control.
Okay, yeah.
So you can control it via an expression
yeah.
pedal. An expression pedal, not a volume pedal.
Yes.
Bottom left-hand control, labelled S, that is size. So that is the size of space that you are in from a reverb point of view.
Bathroom to
from
a
something that's very small.
Yep. So you'd have that kind of.
To something that's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So I think with the springs are not particularly long. They tend to be a bit bright. They tend to be a bit boingy. It's kind of the classic sort of guitar sound, which the secret path does very, very well. The next control on the far right-hand side, bottom right-hand side, is a tone control. That allows you to tailor kind of the brightness or darkness of the reverb itself.
What kind of range has it got?
So if we go now from completely dark, so this is, this might be a, it's a lounge rather. I'll tell you what. Let's turn that to something that's, if you want to tailor a slightly brighter environment. Okay. If we now go from the spring mode to the plate mode, plates tend to be a little more lush. They're a little bigger. They tend to be a little brighter than springs. They're a little more sophisticated, for want of a better word. A little smoother sounding.
Much like you.
Absolutely. So you can hear there, that's a nice long decay. And we can go from a short plate to a longer plate.
There's a huge tail on
Huge,
that.
absolutely.
It's cavernous.
Cavernous, correct. And then now we move into the secret path mode. The secret path mode is a large ambient reverb. It's as dark or as light as you want it, but turning the tails down or turning the tone down on the tails makes it sound quite brooding and
So
ominous.
is it bigger than?
It's bigger than the plate.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we set, this is now at its longest setting.
Okay.
Carry on forever.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
The pedal runs in two modes. At the moment we're in standard mode. It has an enhanced mode function which is accessed by pressing and holding the on switch for about a second and a half. What you'll see there is the fact that when you press it, the LED will flash.
Yep.
And then once you release to show you're in enhanced mode, the LED will pulse.
Let's do it.
Now the enhanced mode does different things depending on what mode or what reverb you have selected.
Okay.
So in spring and plate mode, switching into the enhanced mode adds modulation to your single. Okay?
Like chorus.
Chorus.
Yeah, yeah.
In the secret path mode, switching into enhanced functionality adds a kind of a dark brooding shimmer, which we'll have a look at. So
okay.
we go back now to spring mode.
So this should be some modulation.
So
once we...
what we have now, we're in standard mode,
Yeah.
the LED is not flashing. If I press and hold the on button, you'll see the LED flash, and now I release
Now we're
it,
into that.
and it's pulsing. So what that has done has now added modulation to your signal. If you look at the rate that the LED is pulsing, that shows you how much modulation you have.
It's the depth, or is it the rate of the modulation?
It's kind of the depth.
Okay.
If you wanted to alter that,
Yeah.
then this is where the little black edit button comes in. If you press and hold the edit button,
Yeah.
you'll see the LED stops flashing.
Yeah.
If you then manipulate the size control, you'll see the LED goes
Gets brighter.
brighter
Yeah, yeah.
or darker.
dimmer. Yeah.
Okay? That means now if you set it to the level of modulation that you want to add,
Yeah.
and then simply let go of the edit button, and it stores it.
That's where it's at.
So you can see now it's blinking and it's brighter. So say we don't want as much as that.
It's quite a lot there, isn't it?
It is,
You need to-
absolutely.
yeah.
You can tailor it to however much you want.
Yeah.
If we now go onto the plate, now if you notice, the LED's flashing. When I switch to the plate,
You're
it's
back
not
in
flashing.
standard, so it
So
remembers
now you're in standard mode.
Yeah.
So it remembers the settings
that you were last in.
that you were last in. So,
So
now
if we want
to
if we went back to spring, you'd be back in the enhanced mode.
correct.
With
To
the
turn
modulation.
enhanced mode off, you just press and hold, it'll flash again.
Yep. Got
Now
it.
you're back to normal. So we now go down to plate.
Yep.
We can see that it's not flashing.
Which is where we were at before.
Where is that? Press and hold the on switch. For a second, it flashes. It's now pulsing. Set the level that you want by pressing the edit button and turning the size control
Yeah.
to either low or
Hi.
high. Once you let go, it remembers where you are for the modulation point of view. You've used the size control to alter the level of modulation.
The blend. The blend between the dry signal and.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, which in enhanced mode,
Yeah.
you can also do by an expression pedal.
Got you.
Because you've used the size control, you have to remember now just to set it back to the size of room that you want
For
to
the
be
reverb.
in.
Otherwise,
For
your
the
reverb. If you put all the
Otherwise-
modulation up, your reverb's going to be huge as well.
Yeah.
I get you. That's cool, isn't
Okay.
it?
Now, secret path mode,
Yeah.
once again, it's flashing. We move into secret path mode solid. So we're not in enhanced mode here. So to get into enhanced mode, we have to press the pedal.
Yep.
In secret path mode, rather than it being modulation, it's a shimmer effect. So if we now determine the amount of shimmer we want by increasing the level so the LED is bright, now we turn back to the size of room that we want.
Yep.
If you now play,
Now
you'll
I should
hear
have the shimmer. That's got a long tail on it, hasn't
Absolutely. And this is where your pre-delay starts to be more important, because at the moment the guitar is sat in the mix. If you increase the pre-delay, you lift your guitar, the original guitar signal, out of the ambient reverb. So if we just increase it a little bit, so now you'll hear a little bit of delay before the reverb and shimmer come in.
Yeah. So you've got a little bit more time, haven't you?
It makes the original guitar signal just a little more clear.
Yeah.
And makes it stand out a little bit. The important thing to remember with shimmers is that the tonality of the shimmer is quite important. I think a lot of shimmers can sound slightly artificial because they're very bright.
Yeah.
So one of the things we've done on the Secret Path is allow you to be able to tailor how dark and brooding the shimmer is. So if I now turn if I turn the tone down on the shimmer, it becomes a lot darker.
Yeah.
If I now turn the tone up, it's a lot brighter and a lot more kind of evident within it.
Yeah. Do a little twiddle for us while I'm playing that. It's amazing.
Obviously, you can plug an expression pedal in. In standard mode, the expression pedal controls the mix of wet and dry.
Yeah.
In enhanced mode, it controls, in spring and plate, it controls the level of modulation. So you've always got reverb there,
yeah.
And you just using the pedal, you just bring in out the modulation.
Yeah.
And the same with the Secret Path. You've always got reverb there. It controls the level of shimmer.
Sure.
One thing to point out is the fact that all of the reverbs on the Secret Path have tails. So basically, if you were to play and then turn the pedal off, the reverb trail would still carry on.
I don't believe you. Show me.
Go on then. So now the pedal's off.
And it's still
Hit your
going.
guitar.
But you still got the tail from the previous one. That's really good. Cool.
And that's it in a nutshell.
And does it play well with drive pedals? Because we've just done
it does.
clean.
Yeah. I think drive. It's happy whatever you put into it. You need to tailor the setting of the pedal to what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. Having a drive pedal, it's the same thing. Hitting pedals harder makes them sound better. It's the same as amps. You just have to keep it in mind what you're trying to achieve, and set the pedals accordingly.
And we've got this going directly into the front of the amp. Yeah. If you've got an amp with an effects loop, you could put it in there.
Absolutely.
You could run this into two different amps, which sounds pretty cool as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Stereo.
Yeah, because it's mono in, true stereo
out.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you've got a live rig, that's probably a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you've got any ideas, suggestions for guitars with pedals against amps, let us know. I know a lot of you have asked for a disc guitar, some closer looks at a TI boost and an SG into an LA30BL or even the Supermod. And what we're going to do is a regular feature where we ask Simon to come along, and then Simon says. So hashtag Simon says. Let us know what you want to see and what you want to know about, because I've learned some things today. I've used the Secret Path a fair bit, but I've learned things today about just how to set it, because it's such a useful pedal and there's so many features to it, isn't it? So yeah, let us know in the comments. If you're on Facebook, you can do that. If you're on Instagram, give us a like. Wherever you see this video, do the right thing. And we'll see you next time for some more Simon Says.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Bye-bye.